Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 24th, 2021 Evaluation Committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Ms. Lilly, the roll call.
Yes, prior to your roll call, you have your electronic meeting statement. This meeting is being held as an electronic meeting pursuant to and in compliance with the Richmond City Council's Ordinance 2020-093, adopted April 9th, 2020, and extended by ordinance number 2020-183, adopted August 20th, 2020, and by ordinance number 2020-232, adopted December 14th, 2020, and the school board's resolution approved on April 20th, 2020. The meeting notice also stated that the meeting would be held virtually and would be live streamed for the public on the school division's Facebook page, and the link was provided. Information on how individuals needing translation services was published on board docs. The agenda of the meeting was also posted on board docs. After roll call, we will state how many board members are participating at this time. Ms. Page?
Present.
Ms. Burke?
Present.
Dr. Harris Muhammad?
Present.
You have 3 members participating in the evaluation committee, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. And first, before we start, I would just like to extend my apologies for our lateness due to technical difficulties. So this evening, we are here to discuss next steps in the process for the evaluation of school board staff, which is Superintendent Cameras and the Senior Auditor, Mr. Parker. So regarding next steps in the evaluation of our staff, and let's start with the superintendent. So we have an evaluation rubric. It's used from last year for the superintendent evaluation time through 2020, June 2020, 2021. So no changes have been discussed or agreed upon to date. So the rubric that is already in place and approved by Virginia Department of Education is the rubric that the tool that we will be using. Any questions thus far from committee members? Dr. Harris Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The rubric that has not had any changes to it, is it possible, and you're probably already thinking about this, providing that a most recent copy to all board members, or how? Okay, I was just going to ask, is that done in close or is that done ahead of time so we can review what the rubric is?
So Ms. Lilly, can you speak to that, the rubric?
Thank you.
The rubric will be provided to board members, at time of completion, in discussing the process with Ms. Page and past practice, because we are where we are in the timeline, and because the contract requires conversations and agreements to change that rubric. That's why we're going to be using that one for the previous school year, and you all can work on any modifications to that rubric for the next fiscal cycle. But as part of this particular process, each board member will get a copy of the rubric for completion.
Thank you, Ms. Lilly. And also, just to make it clear, this committee is tasked with the evaluation, setting the schedule for the evaluation committee. Ms. Lilly will direct or reach out to board members regarding the superintendent's evaluation, the rubric for us to complete that. And also prior to that, we will receive the superintendent's self-evaluation portion as a part of this process by the date that we have set forth. Any questions? Okay. So we can, are we ready to establish a timeline when Ms. Lilly will provide board members with the rubric for evaluation and the superintendent's self-evaluation? Because he will need time, a deadline to complete that and provide the board that information as well. So the first thing, Ms. Lilly, we will need a date as far as when board members can expect the rubric.
If you wish the rubric to be sent in advance of the package, then that can be a separate date. But if you wish it to go with the package of self-evaluation, then that can be the date for submission to board members is based off of when you want the response from the superintendent on the self-evaluation.
Okay. What's your pleasure, committee members? Ms. Burke?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was trying to type it in. Thank you so very much. I like the idea especially by having new members on the board as well that have seen the form, maybe since it is used by VDOE, but that we all receive a memo listing what our goals are, as you just stated, that the evaluation form, the rubric, will be sent to all board members. And the timeline would include a specific date, which I'm going to suggest for the superintendent to submit his information, probably to Ms. Lilly as well. And then we'll give the board members at least a week or so to be able to submit their information by a certain date, but not to respond until they have received the self-evaluation data from Mr. Cameras. So looking at the calendar, if Ms. Lilly can get that out, you think this week, Ms. Lilly?
I can get the blank rubric out to board members this week, and then you can set. Today is the 24th. I've already paged to June. I'm sorry. We have 1 week left in this month. So yes, I can get that out within the next few business days, and you all can then set a date for the self-evaluation, or to direct me to communicate with the superintendent his self-evaluation package and the due date for that. And that can be done at the same time, and then you can go from there. But yes, I can get the blank rubric out to board members this week.
Okay, say by the 27th?
Yes.
Okay.
The blank rubric to board members by the 27th?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, Thursday, okay.
And then in the superintendent self-evaluation, to get that back to board members. So we said 27th.
Maybe.
Yeah, he will need an opportunity to complete that. So,
2 weeks, 1 week.
2 weeks probably.
Okay,
Two weeks.
so maybe
fair.
the week of, I think so. I was gonna say maybe the week of June the 14th.
We
I mean,
all
that-
good with that?
And
And
just
that's
to
also
be
right
clear,
before graduation starts.
okay, to be
Graduation
clear,
ceremony start.
that's true. To be clear, that's the date you would like for the due date for the self-evaluation to back in. Is that correct?
I just said the week of June the 14th.
Oh, okay, okay.
It can be on the 14th, that preceding the 14th is 2 weekends,
Mhm.
in addition to that.
Want to
Maybe
say the 17th to be consistent with the rubric being disseminated to board members. Are we good with that? So we're talking about 17th
I just want to clarify what that date is for. Is
for
that
the
for,
self-evaluation to be returned completed.
okay,
June the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to give him, again, I might have missed that date, the self-evaluation on what day, June the 1st? I'm sorry.
I can get that out this week as well.
Oh, that week, okay, that week, this week as well. That's what, Madam Chair, you're saying, to be consistent with the rubric, okay.
Yes, yes. So then the self-evaluation completed by the superintendent,
Mhm.
and then expected time for board members to complete the evaluation using the information from the self-evaluation. Correct, Ms. Lilly?
Yes, that's part of that's a piece of the package, yes.
Right. So if we're saying that complete self-evaluation by the June 17th, do you think the 24th is a realistic time for board members to complete their piece
By
of the
20
process?
by the
I would defer
24th.
to board members.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are y'all thoughts?
We have graduation that week going on a couple of days.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I don't want to, the date that we choose, I would like for us to make sure, as a committee, we stick to that date.
Right.
And so that's why I don't want it, I'm just saying that week may be a little difficult
Mhm.
for all board members to turn it in on time.
Right. So
So
Ms.
then-
Lilly, question process. We have to complete this by the 30th, correct?
Correct, unless there is some agreement by the parties otherwise, which I can inquire. But if they're, but yes, contractually, yes.
Okay, so with having that repeated, the 30th, thank you for reminding me of that. Then we're gonna have to hustle and get it done that week. What
We can-
about Tuesday? Ms. Lilly, is that enough time to compile the information?
When you say Tuesday, which Tuesday?
I'm sorry, Tuesday the 29th? of
Okay,
June?
Mm-mm.
That's a day before.
No,
it's-
Madam Chair, yeah, may I make a
Yes.
comment, please?
Yes,
This is supposed to be done. I think we're pushing ourselves to the last hour, though, and of course, the board would like to have an opportunity to communicate. I was just looking at our calendar, knowing that we changed the date of the 18th now being no school. The 17th will be the last day, and the 18th is Juneteenth that we're celebrating. And then on the 21st, we were scheduled to have school board meeting, correct, Ms. Lilly?
that's
now-
been changed to the 28th because you have graduations on the 21st. So that has,
Right, exactly.
your second school board meeting for June is the 28th.
Right. So what I'm asking is that I would really like to have the opportunity for the committee should get together and put all the information together once the board members have collected it. So I think we're pushing ourselves to the 12th hour. Excuse me, I've been outside all afternoon and I can feel it now. So if we can have it, graduations, if he's going to get the information on this week as well, hit the
Mhm.
form. And of course, we have to acknowledge Memorial Day, as you stated. I'm thinking I would like to see us get his form, as you just stated, Ms. Page, back during the week, as Dr. Muhammad stated, during the week of the 14th, a particular day to give us, when
We
we
say
come
the
on the
17th.
28th. Okay, all right, okay. I was trying to push it, trying to give us some leeway because this is pushing us knowing it has to be done by the end of this month.
I see what you're saying. Maybe
Yeah.
the 14th or the 15th, it would be good, Ms. Burke, because he does have, the superintendent does have, in terms of professional, superintendent roles, we don't have graduation that week. I don't know about pre-K or Head Start or VP.
And yes, it's something every day
Right.
starting, with virtual programs and whatever else
something
as
going
well
on. But
on the 16th. But
to meet the deadline, I do agree, maybe early in that week, he could get it into us. And then the board can do what we need to do so we can honor that timeline.
Right. So it sounds like I'm hearing we're not in agreement with the 17th for the superintendent to return his self-evaluation.
yeah, I guess we could live with that. We're just pressing it because we don't have but 2 to do. But I know we need at some point to get together to debrief, which will probably
Right.
take place.
So, I mean, do
during the
we want to
28th.
set it earlier in the week? Say return by the 15th, Tuesday?
That's good. Really in the end, it doesn't make a difference because we're going to be so wrapped up with graduations on the 21st. So I'm fine with the 17th. I was just trying to figure out a date that we're not overburdened on the 28th. When I say overburdened, that's going to be a long agenda meeting because we just meet once in July. And I did want us to have an opportunity to have as we always do, an opportunity to debrief as a board.
Right.
And close. So do we have any other close, Ms. Lilly, on the 28th?
I'm not sure of what is scheduled on 20th, none that I know of at this point in time. And I know that you certainly, a lot of meetings are going on, but there is an opportunity if you wish for me to discuss, you all can schedule a special meeting for that purpose. I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm not saying you have to do it. You can do a special meeting, perhaps later in that week or, by agreement. I don't know, what day are you all observing the 4th? Is that on the 5th? No, July 4th. Is that the 5th?
We don't have but one meeting in July.
Right. But I'm just saying,
19th.
maybe you use the latter portion of that particular week. And then on that 28th, you all can use your closed session to discuss, debrief as a board, and then, it will be a very short special meeting if necessary to discuss with.
You say on the 28th?
You could use that meeting in accordance with your schedule as you're going now to discuss it as a board, and then potentially have another meeting. Again, just throwing out the option. You don't have to, but you need to have an agreement with the superintendent to go past the 30th. And that's something that if you want me to have that conversation with him and bring that back to you, I can. And then this body, I heard you guys the committee wants to look at the results first too. So you have a committee, then the board, then the conversation with both employees. And so,
So the dates that we have in place right now, so we can all
Ms.
be
Page,
clear.
can we meet on the 24th? On that Thursday before? I would like for us to get a chance to receive all the forms back and to do a tally up sheet so that when we meet on the 28th, we'll be able to enclose review with our colleagues what 5 for this, 4 for this, 6 for that, 3 for this.
So these are the dates that we have, so we know what we working with. We have the 27th of May. Board members will receive the blank rubric. The 17th, superintendent is supposed to have his self-evaluation completed and return to Ms. Lilly. And then on the 28th, discuss as the board, the full body.
So you skipped some dates, Ms. Page. After she gets the self-evaluation back from the superintendent, what day will Ms. Lilly be sending that to us?
I can
Oh, I'm
turn that
sorry.
around by the 18th. That, I mean, it doesn't, yeah, I'll turn it
Okay.
around by the 18th.
By the 18th, okay. And then, and board
the-
members should, so when are we saying board members should complete the evaluation based on the superintendent's self-evaluation?
Wednesday, the 23rd.
Wednesday.
23rd? Okay, and then board, so the committee, what date will work for us to reconvene?
25th, 24th,
So
a
6,
month, exactly a month from today.
24th. Okay.
Ms. Page, I just want to make sure I have this correct for my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying on May 27th, the
Mm-hmm.
form will be issued to all board members, the
Right.
rubrics, as well as the superintendent will receive his form as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then on June 17th, the superintendent will complete his summary and give it to Ms. Lilly by June 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ms. Lilly is going to issue the superintendent's summary to all board members on the next day, the 18th.
Correct.
And then on the 23rd, this committee will meet again to organize and tally up in closed session all of our forms.
I had
And
the
then,
24th.
excuse me, I'm sorry, 23rd is when the board submits their forms. It's Thursday, the 24th, a month from today, then we'll meet again to tally.
Correct.
And then the board meeting is on 6/28, which we will go into close.
Correct. Dr. Harris
you.
Mohammed, those dates, you agree with those dates?
Yes, ma'am, those dates are fine. I did put in the chat. But I can work around it. That's not a problem because we're meeting in the evening
Yes.
and I would just be working with my camera off. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
I can participate.
Okay, and so we are clear regarding the process for the superintendent?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so moving on to Mr. Parker's evaluation.
Does his have the same deadline?
Oh, may I? I'm sorry.
Yes, Ms. Lilly.
The fiscal year runs, of course, from July 1 to June 30th. So it would be good to do it by, around the same time so that it's closed out and you begin the fiscal year. I could send the rubric. His does not involve the self-evaluation portion.
Right.
So I could send the rubric out to board members with the instructions, if you wish me to go ahead and complete that. The auditor's portion, the auditor's rubric, and that can be on a completely different timetable as, the superintendent's, and that can be done in advance. Well,
So,
Question, Madam Chair.
yes,
I thought I think it would be consider it on our part as well to have Mr. Parker to write a summary. It doesn't have to be in detail like the superintendent's.
right.
And see, we didn't have a mid-year, so.
And I think that's
It would be
fair.
nice.
Because,
Yes, I think
He's
because
done
we
a
don't
lot
know
of work.
everything.
yeah,
So
he's done a lot
that's-
of work.
Yeah, so we need to know in order to articulate well when we evaluate, to see that documentation from him as well. And knowing Mr. Parker, I'm sure he would want to do that.
So,
So review again very quickly what you all were I was trying to understand what you were saying. I know his evaluation is not as detailed as the superintendent.
right.
And did I hear you would like for him to provide samples of what he's done? Because he's done a lot of work. I might be
Yes,
putting
like a summary.
a summary, provide a
Mhm.
summary.
Tentative
Yes.
summary, yes. If he wants to attach, just like we would do in the school setting, Dr. Harris Muhammad, when people come in the year. Excuse me, please.
So then, so again, when board members receive the rubric for the superintendent, Ms. Lilly, they also can receive the rubric for Mr. Parker.
That's
And
fine.
then for his self-evaluation, the completion of his self-evaluation, do we want to stick with the same timeline?
His
Board
should be
members?
quick. Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I would like that
okay.
Okay.
Ms.
if
Lilly,
it's possible, because his is
That would
not
be
as,
easy. It'll be
his is not
easier.
as in depth as the superintendent.
right.
I
And
mean,
then,
I didn't see Ms. Lilly agree or not. She just looked.
Oh, as far as the rubric itself?
Right, his not as in depth as the
The rubric
superintendent.
is, I won't say extensive, that might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's not just, it's a detailed evaluation rubric.
Right.
So, you know, yes, it's a detailed evaluation rubric.
So can the school board members receive a copy of the rubric in the
Yes,
same
that's
timeline
right,
that the
right,
superintendent?
right. And so at least you'll have it in your mind as to what you're going to be
What
looking
you're supposed to do,
for.
right.
Right. And if you
And-
wish for me to follow the same process and ask for a summary from Mr. Park, I can do that as well. And we can be on the same timeline. So that's just easier, I'm sure, for board members to keep track of. Not that you can't keep track of different dates, but it's a lot going on. So.
Sure.
so process question for us. So regarding Mr. Parker, once his rubric has been finalized, are we good with the results being discussed by the full board, finance committee, or board leadership?
Oh, yeah, finance committee.
The same people who are evaluating him at the, and we can discuss that in close as well. Once we receive his summary and we do a tally sheet that, and then probably the follow-up will be with him. Madam Chair, you would probably do that with him, I'm thinking, since you're the head of that committee. But
Okay.
since all of us, even though we have board members on the finance committee, that we would prepare that the just as we do during the superintendents.
Right.
But I know the
So-
follow-up conference will be different.
Right.
Mhm.
So we're
So
in
we did not
agreement?
discuss that, Ms. Page. What do you think? When do we have our conference with the superintendent? Would you do that? Or would this committee do that? After his evaluation is done, we should have a, after we make our arrangements on the 28th, so we need to add a date here
That's
to
all
have
right,
a conference with
because,
him. Yeah, to
Cause-
share the findings and whether he has to come up with a plan or as
right,
moving forward. So how do we agree on the 28th? What are we gonna have in place to,
another
what day are we
meeting?
gonna meet
On the
with him?
29th, or is that too late? Late,
No, it's before the end of the month.
yeah, can we meet with them? I know it's two
Is ours,
back-to-back meetings, however,
okay.
we will only be meeting on the June 29th and make it very clear to board members to share the summary and
Results.
feedback for our auditor. That's it. This is the only business we could be doing on the 29th. That's it. We
so
could go,
share the
So-
feedback of the auditors on the 29th?
yes, ma'am. That's my suggestion, but that's, I will go with what
And the
the committee.
superintendent too.
Yeah,
The
we had to do the
superintendent would need to have-
superintendent as well.
Yeah, both of them would be done at different times, of course, but that would be up to the committee to address that.
Mm-hmm.
So, which could be in the evening or whatever else, but I'm sure he would want to know, so he can put that on his calendar.
Right. So we can come up with a date now?
I think Dr. Harris Muhammad was saying the 29th, or I thought I heard the 29th. Is that correct?
I was saying if we could do that on the 29th, just have a meeting to share the findings with the auditor and possibly, well, we're going to share the findings with the superintendent on the 28th and close. Correct? Madam
So
Chair.
we are,
That's what we have.
okay.
Or we could do it both on the 29th. I mean, it's,
Well, it
Well,
depends upon, yeah.
Ms.
Go ahead,
Lilly,
Ms. Lilly.
no, I was just gonna say, I think trying to synthesize everything that everybody was just saying, I think there was interest in making sure that the board had the conversation
Mhm.
first, and you can do that probably on the 28th, and use that closed session for that. And then, for both individuals. And then when I say conversation amongst the board, and then on the 29th, potentially had that conversation with the
with
employee.
both employees.
Right, and that should be a very, I don't anticipate that would be a very lengthy call meeting on the 29th. But I think that's what everybody in these squares are saying, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So
okay,
we'll need to set up a time, Ms. Page, according to
Yes.
everybody's schedule, so we can let the superintendent and Mr. Parker know.
seems 6 p.m. seems to be a good time for everyone. Would you all say that? Agree to that?
Sure.
Start between 5 and 6, yes, ma'am. That's good for me.
So
Okay.
we'll have one at one time and one at the other time.
We could have Mr. Parker say at 5:30 and
The superintendent at 6:30.
6:30.
We can have a break in between, 5-10 minute break, give the board a
Right.
5-10 minute break, come back, start at 6:30, starting sharp at 6:30. And that's all
Exactly.
we're doing. Yes.
Exactly.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds great.
All right. And then also, I just wanted to make it very clear, the rubric, the standards are the same. All 7 standards have been established by the Virginia Department of Education, and the performance indicators are where we can make modifications, but we are not at that point at this time. But I just wanted to, make that clear. Okay.
Mhm.
So, I'm sorry, Ms. Lilly.
One question, just to close the loop, you all talked about adding a committee meeting, an evaluation committee meeting on May the 24th. What
Mhm.
time did you want that? Because these both need to be noticed.
That's June the 24th.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, June the 24th, and I wrote down May, June the 24th.
Well, that's
You'll
today,
be
so
there
you're
by
okay.
yourself.
I was gonna say, never mind. That's okay. Sorry. So
What's the
June
good
the
That's okay.
time?
Want to make it later, Ms.
24th, what
Page,
time
or
is the
early? I mean, excuse me, you want to
evaluation
keep it at 5 or make it 5:30 or 6? What, I'm flexible.
5:30? How does that work for everyone?
June 24th at 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
I can make that happen. I get some rest in between.
Okay.
It'll be okay. But I'm gonna
So-
be off camera. So I just want the public to know today I'm gonna be off camera on that day, but I will be participating.
All right.
Okay. So we said
5:30.
5:30.
Gotcha. We'll get
Okay.
these noticed.
All right. And the meeting on the 29th for both employees, the findings, 5:30 for Mr. Parker, 6:30 for Superintendent Cameras. Right?
Do you think we're gonna need a whole, but we're gonna break in between? I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a
Just
few
to,
minutes. Just
on
to
the safe
That would be
side.
wonderful. That would be
Mhm.
wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so
But we
much.
can go right in, we can work, we can take care of the business and.
That's right.
say
Take
goodnight.
care of the business.
And say goodnight.
That's right.
Thank you.
So any other questions or concerns about the process, where we are, where we're going?
I'm clear on the process. Thank you.
Okay.
We're using
Ms.
a rubric that has already been put in place,
Yes.
has already been outlined, goal-based, strategic planning, but all of those things are already a part. Yep,
Yes.
I'm clear. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because there are 7 standards
Mhm.
that have been set by the Department of Education. The performance indicators is
Mhm.
where the board has made any modifications from 2020 to 2021.
Mhm.
Yes, so that's the evaluation period. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
well,
So, Ms. Page, when this
Yes.
goes out, I know this will be our minutes as well, so the board members will get the dates that we just listed here. So in case they have any questions, they'll get all 7 of our steps. We have 7 steps here.
yes,
Okay, thank you.
Can we review those steps very quickly?
yes, because what's your 7th step, Ms. Burke?
Mrs. Page, Dr. Harris Muhammad, Mrs. Lilly. I have May 27, 5/27.
Mm-hmm,
The forms for superintendent cameras and Auditor Parker will
mm-hmm,
be issued to those 2 persons as well as all the school board members.
mm-hmm,
And then on June 17th, Superintendent Cameras and Mr. Parker will submit to Ms. Lilly. Well, for the superintendent, he has a different evaluation form.
Right.
But Mr. Parker will submit an overall summary of what
right,
he's done in aligned to the form of which he's submitting. Then on the very 18th, Attorney Lilly is going to share their findings, their reports to all of the school board members.
mm-hmm,
And that gives us a chance to work up until June the 23rd. On June the 23rd, all board members should submit to Ms. Lilly their forms.
mm-hmm,
And yeah, good. All the papers need to come back, Ms. Lilly, even the
yes,
worksheets.
they
Yes,
will.
so that needs to be in writing.
Confidentiality,
Then on June 20th,
Yeah, all
yes, ma'am.
documents. All documents.
yes.
Just need to remind them. On
Mhm,
June 24th, our committee will be meeting to come together and tally up what we have on 5/30
yes.
in closed session.
Mhm,
Then on Monday, June 28th, we will go and close for our board meeting to discuss amongst ourselves anything that we're going to share the findings that we have, the tally sheets, and have a discussion there.
mhm,
Then on the very next day, that Tuesday, we will share the final evaluation with Mr. Parker at 5:30, and then with the superintendent at 6:30 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And
right.
we have one day left over in case we need it before July 1st. So
But we are not going to need that day.
no, we're not.
We're going to handle
Woo.
our business.
Yeah, yes.
We are.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you, Ms. Burke. I had that information. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Good job, Ms. Page.
all right. So if all minds are clear, and there's no other items to discuss at this time,
I'm good.
thumbs up. Okay. Well, I now adjourn the evaluation committee meeting.
Thank you all.
Okay,
Thank
good-
you so
good
much.
evening,
Well done,
everyone.
Ms. Page. Enjoy the rest of